Ooh, excuse me.
Yep, that's staying
There we go.
in. That's staying in.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
It is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast sponsored by DraftKings, bringing you this week's Genesis Invitational, Tiger Woods' tournament, and the Tiger Woods of Strip Club sitting next to me. What's going on, Kenny Kim?
What is up, Byron? What a weekend. Lots of great golf to talk about. Asian Americans whooping that ass, basically, is what's happening up in that piece. Doing pretty well. So looking forward to talk about this week and stuff like that.
Great stuff. Now, as always, the show is brought to you by DraftKings. Be sure to use code FGD when signing up to support the show. We would really appreciate that from you. We'll be showing all sorts of odds and things like that for DraftKings as we get through the board later on in the show. Kenny, it was a wild week of golf last week. We had probably the best 24 hours of golf kind of back to back. If you stayed up to watch Liv, Adelaide, and Anthony Kim do his thing, Michael Kim could be up next. Anthony Kim doing his thing, and then Colin Morikawa and the whole debacle that happened at Pebble Beach. It was some good golf over Sunday. So thoughts about AK?
Yeah, let's talk about Pebble. First off, Colin Morikawa getting his first win in about 3 years. I mean, I was a little shocked at how well he held up under the pressure. I know he had a runner-up last year, I think, when he was in contention. Maybe the Memorial API. I knew it was a sticky event. I think that's the only time he's really been true in contention.
That was his last top 5.
Yeah,
that was his last top 5. They're playing that tournament in 3 weeks' time.
So it's been 10 months.
11.
Yeah, since he's had really been in contention. And to do what he did the last few holes. On 15, of course, he made that bomb. 16, he makes a nice 15-footer. 17, you sort of get the idea that maybe it's not going to happen, right? I mean, he sort of flails that that iron shot on the 17, almost goes into the water about 3 feet in front of the hazard. It's a decent chip from where he was because he was short-sided over a bunker with thick rough, left himself about 15 feet for the par, missed it. To go back, I guess at that point in time, he probably would have been tied with, Seth Straka, right, at that point in time.
And Scotty. Had Scotty done what he did yet?
Scotty was at 20.
20, yeah.
I was at 22 going into 17. Bogeyed 17. And then 18 was really impressive. I think he hit three wood off the tee. Which it's fine. It wasn't playing long. The wind was at their backs. And then that approach shot from about 200, 215 was really good. I mean, if you looked at where he aimed at, I mean, you have to have balls to be able to do what he wanted to do on that, because he basically aimed that shot over the water, and had to play that cut with a very, very strong left to right wind, going away from the water, which actually probably helped, with that shot. The distance was great. Ended up right by the flag, about pin high, maybe 20 feet in the rough. And then the chip was easy. You just use this putter, was smart about it. The wind was blowing really hard into his face, which was actually probably a good thing. And then he just got that putter left at the 2 feet, and got that win. Really, really good for him. Again, not many true Morikawa fans out there, but it's always good when a guy who's had a couple of majors, young guy, gets out of a funk to go in and get that victory. So it was nice. And then afterwards, of course, he said that his wife is expecting. He's going to be a dad. So really, really happy day for him. Of course, we could talk about Scotty. Basically handing the field a 35-hole start. What was he even par, 1 over, 1 under after 35 holes. And then in his last 37 holes, he shot 20 under. Right?
Insane.
It was it was ridiculous. It was
Colin, Kenny,
Mhm.
he has been struggling on Sundays to putt well in contention. I've run some numbers on Colin, since 2022 when he had that win at the Zozo, which we won't even have stats on. So, but he must have putted well that day when he did win. But since then, anytime he's really been in contention on Sundays, he still drives the ball well, hits his irons great. It's the putting that has always let him down significantly, and he's become a much better putter. Like long, he figured his putting out for a while until recently when he started getting in his head. Pretty much right after the API. So like he looks like he's in much better space, and he lost putting on the week, but he gained 1.6 strokes putting on Sunday in the clutch. Like he made that bomb, like you mentioned, which that was what flipped the script that hole. Because I feel like he did kind of whip it out there. It could have hit the tree, ended up in a bad lie. He ended up making a birdie on that hole, where it could have easily have been a bogey or something. So he would have hit a very touchy chip if it did go in the hazard to try and make a 4 instead of like try and make a safe 5 like he did with the normal first ball as well. So some things went his way quite nicely, but ultimately I think he handled himself fantastically. He looks like he's comfortable in his own skin again, right? Because he's been this guy that's been, after he came off to the media, he just never felt comfortable, and we could see that in his play. So anyway, interesting stuff from Colin's perspective there. Congrats to him and to the missus. Very fun stuff. Got the dad hat for all the dads out there crushing their stuff. So good for them. Scotty, the dad of the field, Kenny. He's everybody's daddy. He just tells him what's up, does his thing. I mean, we were all saying he's not good at putting on Poa. He had his best putting performance ever, I think, on Sunday. That's insane.
Yeah, I think he gained like 4 strokes putting for the week.
Yeah. And it was all on like that day. So he's been incredible. I want to mention your boy Sepp, Kenny. Guy's like 5 holes before the end of the tournament says he doesn't know how to play golf. Says, I suck at golf. Him and his caddy's also just ginormous. I mean, that is such a tank pairing. But talk to me about your boy. Some good stuff. He came in clutch for you.
It was Step. I mean, like, okay, so Sepp was the one that I hit. I hit the 3 place with Sepp. It was nice because he shot 4 under in the last 3 holes to get it. And so that saved my week betting wise, of course. Instead of losing 7 units, I just lost 1, right? So basically, I play it like I'm playing cash in DFS. That's why I do the each way betting. So, if I don't hit the winner, if I get someone up near the top, I can still get the majority, almost all of my money back. That's that's how I got to sort of go with it because, honestly, I'm betting $700 a week with DraftKings and betting, right? So, I can't lose 700 a week like every week.
Sounds like you managing your bankroll quite nicely, Kenny.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. So I have to hit these each ways. And so that was the 4th each way hit of the season in 5 events, which of course definitely helps. A couple of them are chopped, so it's not that great. But I'm not as down as I would be, right? 7 units a week, down 35 units was what I would be, which would be like $1,750 or something like that, right? Right? So, instead I'm down like, something like 500, right? So 600. So, it helps a lot when it comes to the each way betting. He also really helped in DFS because, okay, so I watched like the first like 8 holes on Sunday. And I had to run some errands. I didn't even want to run, but I had to. So I missed from like the leaders from like 8 to 15. I missed that. And like when I left to go to run these errands, I wasn't even anywhere near cashing in any one of my lineups. Not a single one. Right. I was like bottom 3rd in every lineup. And then I got back and I was in the money in cash. So what happened in cash was usually this year so far, my cash game cornerstones have been pretty good. They've been decent. It's the other 2 plays that haven't been my cash game cornerstones that I'm playing in cash that have fucked me, right? Well, this past week it was a total opposite. My cashing cornerstones were not great. I apologize. Sorry about that, guys. But my two other guys were Min Woo and Straka. They both finished second, right?
And
they both
Straka was the leading point scorer
Straka
on the
had
week.
more points than Morikawa for the week by like 5 points. Like it wasn't even like, a minuscule amount. It was like 5 points more. So Straka was the big thing. He was very, very helpful for me. Got the full place, was able to cash in my cash lineup, all my cash lineups. So I was like in the top 15%, 10% in all my cash lineups. And then that last eagle jumped me into min cashing the $100 single entry. Min cashing doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $200, right? That's $200 added on top of the cash lineup that I've already won. So I was up. Like I won like $530 on $320. So I won $200, on it. So it was like a 60% return on investment week. I've had a couple of those this year also to save my bankroll. So the year having hasn't been great, and it's been sort of normal throughout the whole time I've been doing DFS and gambling more recently. I tend to struggle early on in the year. I think last year was the first time I hit a winner before late February ever, when I hit Nick Taylor at the Sony.
The Sony.
Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with the way I go about my research. A lot of it has to do with what I've seen recently, like what I've personally viewed, what I've watched, stuff like that. And I'm getting like 8 billion work emails right now at 4:54 on a holiday.
Yeah.
So I hate everybody. So it ended up being a very, very good week for me. But I will let you know, the first 3 days, I was like, this is a bust week. I thought I was going to win literally nothing. I thought I was going to lose all $700. Instead, very profitable.
Good comeback for you. Nice.
It was very good. It worked out.
Hey, speaking about just making do with what you got, Kenny, you play the cards you get dealt. That's what you got to do in gambling and betting in DFS and all of the stuff we get into. I managed to eke out 2.1 units on the week. We lost 6 points at the waste management, but we're finding our way back to ground zero again. Solid situation. We didn't cash a winner because I'm betting every first round leader outright and second, third round leaders and live outrights as we go through the week to win 10 units. So if I just cash one of those, I'm basically breaking even for the week for certain. I can lose pretty much every other bet that's out there, but didn't cash any of those, and we still had a profitable week. That was 2.3 units worth of investment that I had out there. So that's fun to imagine. That's the grind I'm looking for. When you are subsidizing your big outright bets with placements and good stuff, that's how to go. Shout out Russell Henley, chipping eagle to get to T19. It's a 4.3 unit swing. I bitch a lot about bad breaks on this show. So it was a fantastic break. Then Jake Knapp goes and chips in for eagle again on 18 to get from outside the top 10 inside the top 10. And he did that on Saturday as well, chipped in on 18 for eagle to get me a top 5 third round cash. We had him at 32-1 to finish round 3 in the lead. Missed out by a stroke, I think, to whoever was leading. So we were close and we were cooking, but 18 was what was gifting me from the gods. So shout out to them. They looked after me on Sunday. They did not look after me today. I've been battling my laptop. I almost took it to the fire station and just left it there without a note. It's just one of these things today. So I go to Best Buy and try and get this fixed. Didn't get resolved. I come back to my car, try to get in. Someone's parked like right up against me, like over the line. I'm fucking 260 pounds, people. I don't just slide into a car, okay? Like I've been watching the Lincoln Lawyer lately. I felt like Cisco trying to climb into the Mini Cooper. Like I had nowhere to go. So I get in the car eventually and I'm like kind of tilting. And some grandma pulls up next to me and opens her door and just fucking rocks my car. Like I'm sitting in the car and she just opens her door and just like I thought I got crashed into. Like she just hit my car. She's like so far away and still smashed my car. And I'm like screaming inside my car. The windows are up. She's obviously deaf because she didn't react to me. So I like wind down my window eventually. And I look at her, I'm like, she's like, I didn't mean to do that. I was like, no fucking shit, you didn't mean to do that. You're not trying to smash my car. She's like, there's no scratches. And I'm like, lady, like, she was in bad shape though. So like, I couldn't be like that mad, but oh my God, like when it rains, it pours. So I managed to get all my stuff together for the most part. I don't have too much Pebble data in here, but I have everything else. So we are good to go. It's been a day. Mondays are not for me, but Sundays have. So I'm happy about that. So that's kind of one good thing for me there. So anything else you want to chat about from Pebble, Kenny?
No, I mean, the weather really didn't pick up on Sunday. It would have been a lot more fun if they just kept the original tee times,
Yes.
like sort of like babying these golfers is sort of annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like the PGA is so adamant in not trying to embarrass these guys, but I mean, that's fun to watch, right? Watching guys play in extreme conditions, and stuff like that, and them doing whatever they can to avoid that. I mean, the thing is, even if they played late and they couldn't finish because of the wind, all these guys are playing right down the road, a few hours away in the same state next week. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they got to travel all different places. They're right down a few hours down the highway, this week, to play in this event. So it would have been nice to see these guys play in some of these type of conditions. And really, I mean, the only time I ever see that nowadays is maybe majors, right? I mean, we don't really see these 40-mile-per-hour winds. They'll just call it. And that's a shame because it's fun watching guys struggle like that. I mean, you saw, but it does lead to, what happened at the end of Saturday with Min Woo waiting for like 35 minutes for his ball to not move on the fairway. And it also leads to, Jacob Bridgman going out there and trying to do some stuff off the rocks and the beach, trying to figure everything out. I mean, it made sense for him to try and hit it. I understand why he took this time because, I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. He literally cost himself like $400,000 with that mistake and hitting it back into the water. So it didn't work out for him, but I get why he would take his time and try and figure that out because
Also,
it's a lot.
Great six.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. No, he did well to manage to get to avoid disaster. I mean, it's not often you just hit your ball into the hazard from the hazard and still make a bogey. He managed to do that. So shout out to the bridge man creating his own bridge there from disaster to limiting the damage there. So fun stuff. Talking about disaster, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau. I bet Bryson, Kenny, at plus 125 over Jon Rahm. Over Jon Rahm. I just bet Bryson outright plus 125. And figured 5-shot lead. One of these guys has to win the tournament. Jon Rahm doesn't know how to win a golf tournament. He still doesn't know how to win a golf tournament. Turns out Bryson doesn't know how to win a fucking golf tournament either. Anthony Kim, 5 back, chases down 4 total majors ahead of him with a 10-shot total lead and beats them by 3 and 6 shots at Live Adelaide. One of the best tournaments I've ever watched.
The back nine was some of the sickest golf I've seen in a long time from an individual golf.
Yes.
The way Anthony Kim went about that back nine, where he knew his irons were on point. And he knew what yardages he wanted to hit from every time. And while Bryson and Rahm were just pounding driver into, I don't know, wherever the hell they were hitting it, left, right, it was army golf for them off the tee. Dude was out here hitting like 4-iron, like 215, right? So he can leave himself 135, which was, where he wanted to be. And he just hit every single iron to like 15 feet, 20 feet, and then just made every putt.
And then made that.
I made every single putt. It was for what he has done. So I posted some stuff about Anthony Kim online on X. And, you have the live haters and you have the people who just, aren't really that educated. But, I said it was one of like the most miraculous feats that I've seen since Tiger at the 2019, 2018 Masters, whichever Masters he won. And some people came back at me about Rory and Phil. And yes, okay, Rory getting the Grand Slam is a much greater accomplishment golf-wise. Phil winning at 53 years old a major is a much stronger accomplishment golf-wise. But when it comes to like the human aspect of the sport, you guys might even be too young for AK to really watch him in his prime. I mean, you guys might have been like, 2007, 2008. You were what, like 14
I was in
years
high
old,
school.
13
Yeah.
years old, right? Yeah, so you were probably just getting into it. But, when I was watching, I was watching Tiger, and then this guy came in named Anthony Kim. And like, just with all this flair and all this swagger, something you just don't see in pro golf anymore. He let his emotions ride on his sleeve, and nowadays, and even through all time of golf, usually, in golf, pro golfers taught not to get too high, not to get too low, right? But he uses that emotion to play better. Those fist pumps, those roars, after each one of those pumps led him to the next hole to keep going, right? It just cascaded into this unwieldy momentum that he had that I haven't seen in a golfer. I mean, I'm sure it's happened.
In the Ryder Cups and stuff, yes.
I'm
But
sure
not in
it's-
like PGA professional events.
Yeah, this is like recency bias, I'm sure. And I'm sure the listeners can go back and tell me about when someone blacked out the way he did. But, it wasn't the main part of it. It was the ordeal that he had to go through. Because like I said, back in the day, this guy, what he reminded me of that time was Seve, right? A guy that doesn't follow the norms. A guy that goes to his own, beats to his, or, marches to the beat of his own drum, right? He was flashy, cocky, borderline arrogant, right? Very emotional. And he had the golf game to back it up. And people fell in love with that. Like, if you weren't around from like 2005 to 2008, 2009, you don't understand the hold that AK had on golf fandom. So me being of a certain age and seeing that, and what I witnessed was one of the best moments I've seen in golf since Tiger's major. To me, it trumped Rory's Grand Slam. To me, it trumps Phil's major at 53, because what those guys did golf-wise was more impressive. But the story was, it's guys who have been good at golf continuing to be good at golf, right? Yes, both had their ups and downs in their careers. Rory, it took 10 years to get it. Yes, that was definitely a story. But it doesn't match to what happened with AK's life. Anthony Kim hurts his Achilles, leaves golf because he had a insurance policy out on him. And if he got hurt, he gets $10 million. And at that point in time, he felt that was worth it than trying to come back. So he wasn't allowed to play golf anymore, at least for a certain amount of time. He got that money, and basically without any type of, stabilization foundation in his life like golf was, he went through some very dark times, which is very reminiscent, because basically at that point in time in my life, he's my age, I was going through very, very similar things, right? And, he got into drugs, he got into alcohol. I mean, you could tell by his face, he did so much cocaine that he basically caved his face. You got to do a lot of fucking blow. Do that. Like, a lot of fucking cocaine to do that. He contemplated suicide. It was just in this dark, dark place. And then to come back, he gets married, he has a baby, and that foundation sort of comes back for him. And that family helps him get over the dark times that he's been going for. And 10 years of that, most people don't survive. Right? I barely survived going like 3 to 4 years of that, right, in my 20s. The only reason I was able to get out of it, weirdly enough, was my father leaving my mom and moving to Korea, because that forced me to move back home. As a Korean, when one of your parents passes away, or in my case, goes away, the oldest son has to take care of the parent that's left. And so at that point in time, I moved back to Northern Virginia, lived with my uncle for a while, rented a place, and then finally bought a place, moved my mom in, took care of her. And, moving back here suppressed me from what I was doing back when I lived in Roanoke. I mean, crazy enough, about 8 months after I left Roanoke, my best friend was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting down there in Roanoke. Now, granted, it was a case of mistaken identity, which is fucking horrible. The guy had 6 children. I think he died at I think he was like 38 years old when he passed. He was at a stoplight, and these guys just came up and just blasted him. And what they found out in the court case later was the guys were on the phone with someone they were beefing with at the stoplight. And the guy on the phone was like, I see you right now. And so they started looking around, and they saw my boy Tucson. And he was a big, big, heavy set black guy. I guess the guy that had beef with these guys was another big, big, heavy set black guy. And so they just got out of the car and just unloaded into the back of his car and killed him. Now, the thing about that is, I was basically his driver. This guy, Tucson, look, he was a hustler, right? He had a felony when he was 18. He couldn't get a real job. He had 6 children. He had to do what he had to do to take care of his family. Okay. So he was a hustler. I would be driving around him all over the place. He didn't drive. So me and him would drive everywhere. And so basically I would have been in that car, right, if I stayed in Roanoke at that time. I can feel, I feel what Anthony went through at that point in time, because I was in a dark place as well. At that point in time, I didn't realize I was in a dark place. I just thought I was having a good ass time. Yeah. Right. But, if I continued down that path, it would have led to jail or death. Right. And for him to do it for 10 years, for a decade, and still be alive is amazing. Right. And so for him to come back, his family gets in, helps him out. And then Greg Norman, kudos to him, gives him a call. And it's like, yo, why don't you try out Live? Can you think you could try? And he's like, what does he have to lose at that point in time? Right? The insurance is probably waived by then because of the time that's passed. Yeah. Or Live paid the insurance back. I don't know. Exactly what happened there. But when it came back, he was awful. He was dead last.
Awful.
Never even got a single point in 2 years of Live, right? You could tell towards the end he was getting a little bit better, but he still got relegated, kicked out of Live. But then he earned his way back, right, through merit by playing well in the PIF Saudi event, and then in the Live qualifying, he finishes second and gets his card back, right? He gets his Live card back, and then, the second event, the first event, or the first or second event, he goes out at Live, and he does what he does the way that he did it. So to me, because of his backstory, because of how much I loved him back in the day, because of how much his struggles have resembled mine at that point in time in his life. To me, that was the most poignant moment in golf that I've seen since Tiger winning the 2019 Masters. I was watching it and I was like in tears when he was winning. And it was just such an amazing sight to see someone like that. You know, his 1% better, sober is dope. It's sort of corny. Okay. But he believes in it, right? It's obvious that he believes in it. And to put in the work and the effort and to come back from the darkness that he was in was one of the most spectacular things I've ever witnessed in sports, in life, in anything. It was an incredible moment and something I won't forget.
I don't have anything more to say about that, Kenny, that you didn't say, my friend. Fantastic tribute there. I think, and thank you for sharing that. That was cool. You know, didn't know about that about your buddy. So, what's his name again?
Tushan Drew.
Tushan. Hey man, shout out Tushan.
So we were gonna make. You know how Robin Big was pretty big back then. You ever watch Robin Big?
Yep.
We were doing. We wanted to make a show called Black and Tan.
So last week, nobody guessed the winner in the comments because Colin Morikawa won, and none of you are believers in Colin Morikawa. Shame on you all. So no one gets a free month to the Model Maniac Patreon. Thank you, Colin Morikawa. I don't want any of you guys. I'm just joking. We're going to get 2 of you in this week because no one won last week. So the first 2 names that are commented that are going to win this tournament, the Genesis Invitational, the third name that shows up there isn't going to get in. Make sure you check the comments before you comment. The first 2 names, 2 Scotty Schefflers. The third one won't count if Scotty wins. So be sure to comment below who's going to win this week. Let us know what's cooking there. Hit the like, hit the subscribe on every single platform. Tell your granny so she can tell some guy that she just banged her car door into as he winds down the window. Hey, check out Fantasy Golf Degenerates, Sonny. They got good things for you over there. So anyway, that's a cringy end to that part of the story there. But Kenny, hit us up with what's happening at Riviera Country Club this week.
All right, so the PGA Tour stays in California this week. It's the best golfers in the world head to Riviera Country Club for the Genesis Invitational. This year, the event is 72-man field, top 50 in ties, or 10 strokes within the lead after round 2 make the cut. I think, right? They're still doing that, right?
I don't know if they're doing the 10-stroke thing.
Okay, I know for the first year. I don't know if they changed that last year. I can't remember. So we'll have to double check on that. But it is going to be top 50 in ties. At the very least, for the cut this week. Now, personally, I still will be, going about this as a no-cut event when it comes to DFS, right? It's possible that, only 10 to 15 golfers will be cut. So I'm not going to put too much emphasis on, safe cut-making players. I'm going to be aggressive in my lineup building, both in cash and GPPs. As of now, in the cash, I got 4 guys over 8,100, 1 that's 10K, and then 2 6K guys. That's how I'm building my cash lineup for this week. The size of the greens notwithstanding, many people compare this course to Augusta, right? And correlations have been made between golfers that perform well at Augusta and golfers that perform well here. Other than James Hahn, Homa, Neiman, I think every other golfer that has won here in the last 30 years has finished inside the top 25 at the Masters at some point in their career. Inside the top 22 at the Masters at some point in their career. 20 of the last 33 winners at Riviera have either won or come in second at Augusta at some point in their career. That's 66% almost of the winners in the last 30 years had a win or a runner-up at Augusta National. Torrey South, another comp course, as they are both the only 2 courses. There are only 2 courses on tour that use Kikuyu grass, and golfers have also fared well at Quail Hollow. Have fared well here. Riviera is around 7,400 yard par 71 with 4 par 3s and 3 par 5s. The 3 par 5s are the easiest holes on the course, and there is also a drivable par 4. You gotta score on the par 5s. You gotta score. I think everyone that has played this has been 8 in the last 7, 8 years, 10 years, except JB Holmes. JB Holmes is only 5 under. but everybody else is like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 under, right? On the par fives for the year, the ones that won. It's known as Riviera is known as one of the best and most challenging courses on tour. Off the tee, golfers are going to see tight fairways, many fairway bunkers, and challenging dog legs. These fairways are very tough to hit, especially if the course is dry. There will be a good amount of rollout if there is no moisture on the grass, and that, of course, there will be a good amount of rollout if there's no moisture on the grass, and of course, that shrinks the size of the fairways. Obviously, if there is rain in the forecast, which there is, we won't see the massive rollouts, which will make the course play longer. There are trees, but the tree line is usually far away from the fairway, so golfers will have to miss wildly to have trees blocking their approach shots unless there is a big dog leg. Then trees could be in the way from the fairway. The fairways are often use Kikuyu grass. This grass is rare in the United States and could cause problems as golfers hit it in the rough, especially if they have little experience with Kikuyu. Kikuyu is very popular in Australia and your home, South Africa. So that might be something to look at when you look at golfers this week. Though the rough won't be too tall, it is somewhat thick. For the most part, hitting it into the rough won't be too big of a deal. But there will be instances where the Kikuyu rough can grab and bury golf balls, making approach outs more difficult to control or to get spin. Hitting short irons out of the Kikuyu rough will make the course a lot easier no matter the lie. Now, on the flip side of golfers in the fairway, their golf balls will sit up perfectly because of the spongy nature of the Kikuyu grass. But since there is a lot of slope on the fairways, golfers will have to deal with a lot of fade and draw lies. Approach play definitely an important stat, as nearly 70% of the golfers that have finished top 3 here the last 8 years have been inside the top 56 in strokes gained approach for the year they finished top 3. The greens use POA, and they are above average in square footage, but the landing area for birdie attempts will be small due to, the firmness and the undulation and the multi-tiered aspects of the green. Again, could be playing a little bit softer with the rain.
Sub-air?
What's up?
Do they have sub-air?
I'm not sure. So we'll have to keep an eye on that when it comes to the greens for this week. The greens here are usually one of the 10 toughest in on tour each year. So short game, usually important, with length off the tee, also important. Though accurate guys off the tee still have a good opportunity as long as they're good from like 150 to 200 yards. The greens will be quick, stick meter rating of around 12 and a half. They're going to be surrounded by bunkers and false fronts. The 6th hole, of course, has a bunker right in the middle of the green, which should make for good entertainment this week. The one key number I saw was that nearly 80% of golfers that finished top 3 here the last 15 years were inside the top 55 in strokes gained tee to green for the year they finished top 3. This is definitely a big boy course. What are you looking for in golfers this week?
And it's so interesting that you mentioned that Scotty Scheffler situation, but we'll chat like having such good correlation with Augusta, yet Scotty hasn't necessarily done so well. Yeah, kind of same thing with Tiger, which is insane. So we're going to share some boxes this week, tell you guys what I am looking for in golfers this week. Byron's boxes, we've got 7 of them this week round. We are looking for basically 8, really, because we're looking for hard and hellish conditions. Kenny, do you think score is going to be like birdie fest cut? Like, what do you think the winning score is going to be this week?
Mid to high teens because of how soft it looks.
But cold, I think, is also going to potentially keep it to some, a little lower than we could have seen them go.
15 is what I think.
Yeah.
For the win.
So that'll be, hard conditions for sure. Hellish, it's not going to be averaging over par, but just in case, you never know what these conditions, it's going to be like 45 degrees. Now, the golf ball does not fly very far when it's 45 degrees. So it's going to be fun to see how it goes. But again, like you mentioned, soft conditions. So maybe we can change this to medium. Who knows? But we're going to just box check hard conditions this way real quickly and see who checks a couple of them. We've got Russell Henley, Jason Day, Tommy Fleetwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, Marco Penge, Akshay Bhatia, Kurt Kitayama, Matt McCarty, and Scotty Scheffler, checking all of those boxes in the hard conditions, along with some Michael Kim over there, 1.8 strokes average. Then we're going to take a look at hellish conditions. Actually, we're just going to leave that alone. I don't think it's going to be hellish this week. We're going to go straight to the micro model. When I'm talking about the micro model, I'm looking at this wonderful monstrosity that we have over here. This is the micro model. It basically tells you, okay, every single hole, these are the average driving distances. These are the average fairways hit. These are the average green regulation rates. This is the score that they make on these holes. And it basically tailors it to each individual golfer's specific skills. How far do they hit the golf ball? That's going to change how far they hit the drive based off of the average on that hole. How often do they hit green regulations? How often do they hit fairways? That's going to all make a difference. How good are you from the specific ranges that we're going to see this week? We're going to see a lot of shots, Kenny, from this 150 to 200. I think this week is going to be this looks very weird right now. So we're going to just leave that alone and go back to the micro model after we've zoomed in here and take a look at our guys that are showing up. Because we've got Scotty Scheffler at the top here, Tommy Fleetwood, Russell Henley, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day. Keegan Bradley showing up quite nicely in the micro model at $7,700. I think that's got to do a lot with around the green stuff coming into play with him. He's a very good scrambler. Xander, Ben Griffin, Decky, and Matt Fitzpatrick kind of rounding out the top 10 there for the micro model. Then we're going to scoot over to the strokes gained over the last 12 months, the last 8 months, the last 4 months, and the last 12 months. And we're going to take a look at raw average over here. This is a really interesting situation because I've kind of changed the raw average is basically assigning 25% to each of these four boxes, the last 12, 8, 4, and 2026 stats. Prorated kind of just tells you how many rounds you've had in 2026. If you only had 2, it's not going to weight it too much. But if Siwoo Kim's played like 30 times this year, 30 rounds of golf, these 2026 stats is going to actually show up a lot more in the prorated side than everyone else's. Raw is just 25% for anything you've done in 2026. So it kind of shows you who's playing well. Scotty Scheffler, Jake Knapp, Russell Henley, Hideki Matsuyama, Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Siwoo Kim had a bit of a roughy last outing at the Pebble Beach situation there. So that's not ideal for him, but I think it's going to be a fun, interesting situation to see what his course history does because he's struggled around this venue quite a lot. So he's entering the week with great form. Course history at this venue, we've got some Harris English, Patrick Cantley, Cameron Young, Colin Morikawa, Jason Day, Victor Hovland, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau. These are all guys sitting right inside the top 10 for strokes gained at this course over the last little while. If you don't have more than 9 rounds or 8 rounds at this venue, your strokes gain gets watered down a little bit. I want a decent sample size over here. So these are your course horse options for you at this venue. I'm going to scoot over to our total percentages over here. I'm going to unhide what we were looking at a little bit ago so you can see exactly what's cooking. I'm going to total up top 40%, top 30, top 20, top 10, top 5 win percentages and made cut percentages and get the most total percentages for every single golfer. As you would suspect, Scotty Scheffler's at the top. Rory McIlroy, Russell Henley, Tommy Fleetwood. Sepp Straka is someone that hasn't been popping up lately. That pops up quite a lot here in these models, and he would get these numbers popped up a little bit since we don't have Pebble in here so long. Rabbit McIntyre, Hideki Matsuyama, Ben Griffin, and Xander Schauffele showing up there because he's a top 30 beast. Doesn't have any top 5s. Shout out Xander. That's the total finishing positions. Then we're going to scoot over to the model and take a look at who's checking. No, you don't have to check all the boxes in order to be a good prorated guy. You know, like you can have good model ratings and just be outside the top 10 in every single box that we're checking. So we want to make sure that we're including at least a couple guys that are inside the top ranks here. And as you can see, like Shane Lowry, he's outside the top 10, yeah, but he's ranked 11th in the model. He's just always second, that poor guy. But that's okay. Top 10 in the model rankings. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Russell Henley, Hideki Matsuyama, Jake Knapp, Jason Day, Ben Griffin, Bobby Mack, Matty Fitz. Those are your top 10 for my model rankings for the Maniac. And then we're going to go over here and filter on driving distance. Because I think with it being wet, with it being cold, I think having some pop off the tee is going to be important this week. Leading the field in driving distance, top 10 guys. Rory, Aldrich, Marco Penge, Gotterup, Minwoo, Schauffele, Cootie, Knapp, Pendrith, and Kitayama. Those are your top 10 in driving distance this week. So that's basically what I'm looking for this week, Kenny. Those are Byron's boxes for you guys. Be sure to check that out. We're going to dive into DraftKings and share with you why they are the sponsor of this show.
There's no better way to get closer to the action than with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. Right now, our partners at DraftKings are giving new customers a shot to play free for their share of millions in prizes with their first deposit on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app. Simply download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter promo code FGD during sign-up to play free for your share of millions with your first deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most states. Restrictions apply. Terms, DraftKings.com. Minimum $5 deposit required. One single use, $3 ticket rewarded that expires in 14 days. Ends March 25th. See terms at DraftKings.com/promotions. Sponsored by DK.
Let's also talk about our bets for this week. So where I'm going to go this week, make sure you go to DraftKings Sportsbook, use promo code FGD to get yourself a nice little bonus. My strategy this week is going to be sort of similar to last week. Last week I just tried to, fit as many golfers as possible into my budget. It's similar this week. I'm going a bunch, 4 guys with 3 places, and then 3 long shots with 8 places. And it still leaves me a little bit of room to add somebody else. So the first bet this week is going to be Tommy Fleetwood. It's going to be a 28-1 with 3 places. This is going to be on, all of these are on the book that has open, every day of the year. And so Tommy Fleetwood, 28-1, 3 places. Coming into this event, Tommy has 5 top 5s in his last 7 PGA Tour starts, right? Including a solid 4th place finish just last week. I added him live at 40-1 on Saturday. He came just a little bit short for me, finishing in 4th. He's improved every year he's played here, including the last 2 times. He has a couple of top 20s. Then the last 2 times he played here, he finished 20th time, and then the last time he finished 10th. And remember, if you're looking at course history, they didn't play here last year. So they played at Torrey Pines. So any type of course history from last year, you just got to ignore. But he did finish 5th here last year, but it wasn't here. Now, ball striking, short game has been very good. Above average guy on POA. I expect big things from him. I expect multiple wins this season from Tommy. I'm going to go ahead and put him 28-1 with 3 places. Next, it's going to be Hideki Matsuyama, 35-1 with 3 places. A course horse that has had 5 top 15s here in the last decade, including a win a couple of years ago. Coming into the event with 4 straight top 15s this season, including a runner-up in Phoenix. Has gained approximately 8 strokes total to the field in his 4 appearances so far in 2026. If he can just drive the ball average, he's going to be in contention. He just needs to drive the ball average. Give me 0-0-0 on his strokes gained off the tee this week, and I think he'll contend. Jake Knapp, 55-1 with 3 places. 4 straight top 11s coming into the event. Been very good off the tee. Of course, he has the length. Short game, been very, very strong. Also, one of the best putters on POA in this field. Solid 17th place finish last season, but of course, that wasn't here. And that's the main reason why he's not one of my cash game cornerstones. And we'll go over that here in a minute. Matty Fitz, 60-1, 3 places. A couple of solid top 15 finishes the last 2 weeks. Has a top 5 finish here in the past. Ball striking has been very good this season. He's 2nd in strokes gained approach, 21st in strokes gained off the tee, 8th in strokes gained tee to green, and 5th in strokes gained ball striking in this field in the last 24 rounds. He's excellent from 150 to 175, both from the rough and from the fairway. A lot of approaches, again, come from that range. He's also been crushing the par 5. Big Fitzy fan this week. All right, next are going to be 3 of my longer shots. These are all with 8 places. First, it's going to be Pearson Coody, 60-1 with 8 places. I'll talk about him a little bit later on in the show. Next, it's going to be Hisatune, 75-1 with 8 places. Form has been exceptional. 3 straight top 10s, including a runner-up at the Farmers. Been killing it on POA greens as he's gained over a stroke per round, putting it at both Farmers and Pebble. The guy's just playing excellent golf. I'm not worried about him playing multiple weeks in a row. He's 23 years old. The kid is young. He can go out there he could play. I got no issues with that. And then Tony Finau, 110-1 with 8 places. 2 top 20s in his last 3 events. Makes it look like he's, finding his form a bit, putting his ass off on Poa. Has a good track record here, 2 runner-ups and a 5th place finish just last year, but that doesn't count because it wasn't here. Worth a flyer in my book at 110-1 with 8 places. I think it's spending about like 6.5 units. So I still have some room left either for live or adding. I thought about Oberg 75-1 with 3 places. That could be something that I think of and add. We'll see. But that's gonna be the card. So the card for this week is going to be Fleetwood 28-1, 3 places. Hideki 35-1, 3 places. Jake Knapp 55-1, 3 places. Matty Fitz 60-1, 3 places. Pearson Cooney 60-1, 8 places. Hitsune 75-1, 8 places. Finau 110-1, 8 places.
Let's go. I'm going to just double down with you there on Tony Finau, Kenny. We are looking at somebody who, since he changed to a putter by the name of an Ally Blue Onset from Ping at the Torrey Pines Farmers Insurance Open. He gained, I think, 3.5 strokes on, or 2.5 strokes on Sunday with a 3-putt on 16. So it started cooking there. Then he went and gained some strokes at the Waste Management Phoenix Open on the greens, missed a cut. Led the field at Pebble Beach in strokes gained putting. Didn't play great because it was a place that takes the driver out of his hands, and it also doesn't help him with the wedges. He is not a wedge guy. When you take a look at what Tony Finau did strokes gained ball striking off the tee and with iron play at Torrey Pines, another golf course that he's got great success at, the same as Riv, similar setup, long iron play, mid irons coming in hot. You are looking at Tony Finau having the best clubs he plays the best golf with in his hands more often, now wielding a putter that's gaining strokes. Like, he's gaining strokes putting now. This is 3 in a row that he's gained strokes putting, which is something we haven't seen from Tony Finau in quite some time. And he's not going to be the number 1 putter in the field this week, I doubt. Jesus, if he is, we could see him like run away this week. But even if he just regresses to being a good putter, the ball striking is still there. Tony Finau has finished 2nd at this event twice in the past. He's very comfortable around this venue. He's got tons of distance off the tee. I'm all in on Tony Finau this week. It's going to be a very exciting situation to kind of see what he gets up to. We've also gone and bet him at plus. He's 230-1, Kenny. 230-1. Tony Finau at DraftKings. 210-1 at DraftKings. Like, 210-1, you put down $5, you're winning over $1,000, people. Like, this is insane. The price is nuts on this dude. So taking advantage of those numbers, we are going to be playing a Tony Finau ladder as well. We're going to be going top 5, plus 2,400, top 10, plus 930, top 20, plus 340. And we are betting a full unit on the top 20. We're treating it like it's based at plus 150 to win 3.1 units. So we are laying down 10 to win 34, 100 to win 340. That is a big situation. And Tony Finau has been sensational in the top 20 market at this golf course. He's finished inside the top 20, I think, the last 3 times. So it's like 3 of the last 4 or 5. So it's like really impressive. And he's showing us some good form again. Popping up 18th at Pebble is very nice to see because, remember, we've only got 72 people playing this week. You've got to beat like a third of the field just to finish inside the top 20. So I love that bet for him. The other 2 bets are kind of to win 2.4, 2.8, 4.8 units. It's kind of shooting whatever you want to shoot there. But the big bet for Tony Finau is the top 20 situation. And then we're going to do another ladder action here. Tom Hoagie is 230-1 at DraftKings as well. If you take a look at what Tom Hoagie's actually got up to at this golf course, he's kind of got sneaky course history here again. Remember, we were looking after Tom Hoagie at the Amex, and we were looking at him at Pebble, where he's played well before. And he's played well there. He's finished 8th, I think, and 12th at those 2 venues. He's finished 8th and 14th the last 2 times he's played at Riviera Country Club. So I'm all in on Tom Hoagie's course history. I'm in on his recent form. We've got the 12th and the 8th this year. He's long term, over the last 3 or 4 years, he's one of the best iron players in the world. And he's starting to find his groove again. He's just played another course that rewards some good wedge play. Tom Hoagie's going to find his jam, and he's going to spread it all over this toast that we're rocking and rolling with. So I'm loving what Tom Hoagie's getting up to. 230 to 1 to win the tournament, betting 0.1 units to win 21 units. Like, hello, like that's exactly what you want to be doing in these situations when you have long odds like this. You're going to be laddering him as well. Top 5, top 10, top 20, plus 24 to 1, basically, 10 to 1, and 3.5 to 1, plus 355. All at DraftKings, all with ties paid in full. So he can finish just like Russell Henley did last week, T19 and tied with anybody else. You get your whole payment back. You get every single dollar you bet and every single dollar you earned to win back there, because ties paid in full are the best thing you can do in the placement markets. You don't want to get dead heated. That's terrible, terrible stuff. Another bet we're going to be rocking and rolling with, Andrew Novak. I'm actually just going to share my screen real quick and show you guys what Andrew Novak's situation is. Over the last couple years, he's returned you almost $900 in the top 20 market. He's just one of these guys you just have to keep betting top 20 every single week, because his odds are all the way in the plus 300s, plus 333s, plus 275s. This week, Andrew Novak is plus 360. So we're going to be looking at Andrew Novak perennially in the top 20 market. This is the Model Maniac Patreon, by the way. You get all of this cool stuff. Player profiles, all my betting stuff, all my DFS stuff, all my showdown stuff, all my tools, best ball, every single thing you can find over there for you guys. So Andrew Novak plus 360, top 20. Let's see what he can do for us. I am in love with that bet long term. We'll be betting it basically every week, so long as the numbers are in the 3 to 1 range. Then, Kenny, I'm going to join you on Tommy Fleetwood. 2 Toms on the card. If you think about what this week requires, I'm thinking like Open Championship style golf. Cold, wet, mudder, Euros. Like guys that can nominate themselves to just stand up to the ball when it's muddy and wet and cold. These guys are good at playing in these conditions. So Tommy Fleetwood is someone that I think is absolutely a value play over here. 22.5 to 1 at DraftKings plus 225 there. I hate that DraftKings has got 220.50. Like there are these weird odds now going on, so I can't say them properly. But he's there. Tommy Fleetwood, we are rocking and rolling with you, Kenny Kim. And then I did this last year, around about this time. I jumped all the way around Rory McIlroy, and I couldn't get home on him. He won 3 times. I bet him 3 times, and in those 6 starts, I never cashed a single ticket. We're going to try and do it this year. Plus 1,475, 14.75 to 1 for Rory McIlroy to win this week. Another Euro, tons of distance off the tee. His biggest issue at this golf course in the past, he's like lost 3.5 strokes putting randomly one time. Lost 3.5 strokes chipping randomly one time. Like it's all in the short game department. He's usually very, very impressive in the ball striking area at this venue. We know what Rory can do. He's been crushing all tournaments all the time. So I think in these kind of conditions, it's about time. Rory's now the Masters champ. Kenny, you mentioned first and second at the Masters. Now Rory is part of those. He did have a second as well, but I think at 14, he's the way to go. Yeah, I think it just makes too much sense because the conditions are just going to play into his hands far too much. So that's my betting card for you guys. I'm sweating after saying it. Hopefully it's not a sweaty card, but I'll have more bets for you guys as well. I've been running around sweating my ass off today, so I'll have all more placement bets for you guys. I made all those last night, so pop those in the Model Maniac Patreon for you guys over there. Kenny, DFS, blood, sweat, and tears this week, baby. We've got Scotty Scheffler, 14-3, Rory McIlroy, 11-3, and Tom Fleetwood. I'm just going to call him that from now on, 10-3. What are we doing in the 10Ks?
Yeah, Tom is my first cash game cornerstone. Again, he like I said, he's improved every time he's played this event. He's coming in with exceptional form. I expect him to be in contention, like you said, the cold weather. If the wind picks up,
yeah,
you should be used to it. So I'm definitely going to play Tommy. He'll be my first cash game cornerstone. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the other guys. If you want to play Scotty, play Scotty. I mean, like, no one should ever talk you out of playing Scotty. If you want to play Scotty. It's a signature event. The cuts are far and few between. Here, there are plays in the 6K range that are definitely viable. I got no problem with Scotty if you want them.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting, Kenny, because
I won't be.
I just want to. What's up?
I won't be.
Right. His best finisher is a 7th place. Like, we've said this about the Amex, where he hadn't finished inside the top 5 and then he won it. But 14-3 in a field like this, it's very interesting to see Scotty Scheffler at that price. I'm curious to see what his ownership's going to be because, I mean, I think I'm also going to be off him as well. I think I'm going to be on Rory and Tommy Fleetwood this week as well. They give you a bit more value. I like these conditions. I don't think Scotty's going to be bad in them, but, those two guys probably can get it home for me if they get their shit together. I will be out on Xander Schauffele this week. I think I might be sprinkling in some Russell Henley, though, $9,600. Russell Henley's the Sex Panther, people. 60% of the time, he's inside the top 20 all the time. Did that for us last week again. And his top 20 rate's like 75%, actually. So he's like Sex Panther plus right now. Sex Panther Platinum, to be honest with you. So Russell Henley doing his thing. I'm all in on him. He's very underrated golf. He's ranked 4th in the model here. He's $9,600. I think Xander being priced ahead of him is a bit of a shame, in my opinion. So I'll be playing Russell Henley. Curious to see what people get up to with Patrick Cantley. He's got fantastic course history here with 3. See, I'm doing this where you're seeing event history, and I almost said he's got 3 top 5s at this course. He's only got 2. The other top 5 came at Torrey. So be careful, people. Torrey Pines was the venue in 2025. I've fallen into that trap way too many times already. But either way, good course history at the Genesis Invitational. So I am very tempted, Kenny, for Siwoo Kim at $9,200 because he's horrific course history here. Last 4 starts, 44th miscut, 73rd miscut. He's playing way better than that, And there could be some letdown after Pebble. People could be like freaked out a little bit there. It was like one really bad round on Friday. So he almost had the round of the day on Sunday. So I'm in on Siwoo for sure. So what are you getting up to in the 9s, Kenny Kim?
He's going to be my second cash game cornerstone. Of course, he's a course horse. 5 top 15s here in the last decade, including a win 2 years ago. 4 straight top 15s coming into this event for recent form. It's pretty easy play for Hideki. Going to be my second cash game cornerstone. Of course, if it gets windy, if it gets messy out there, he's one of the best out there with his short game. So give me Hideki as my second cash game cornerstone. Other than that, I'm sort of hesitant. I mean, Henley is interesting, like you talked about. I think I don't mind going back to Morikawa, right? I mean, he has to have confidence. He has to have, he knows he's playing well. Like I said, the ball striking has always been there. I think I'm going to play. I think I might play Morikawa over Henley. And then I got to play my boy Hovland at 9,000 out there wearing pool floaties to go out there and figure his swing out, which normally would be something you look at and like, oh my God, I could never play him ever again. Right. And he got his, the ball stuck in a tree. He's throwing like clubs and umbrellas. Yeah. At the ball didn't look good for him last week. Right. So you expect his ownership to be down. But in GPPs, you got to think you've played well here in the past. And you just never know what you're going to get, with him. He could be hitting the ball amazingly, and then you get on him and he crashes. You could be playing like shit, and all of a sudden 1 week he finds it. So I'm thinking maybe he can find it on a course that he's comfortable with. So that's what I'm hoping. I'll play a little bit of Hovland.
I love that. I will likely be joining you, and I will probably be adding a Victor Hovland top 20 to my betting card at some point. Not sure what the odds are there, but he's cashed that 4 of the last 4 starts at Riviera Country Club. In the $8,000 range, Kenny Kim, I'm going to introduce you to the Statfish catch of the week. You get catfished online sometimes, people. You get a nice little profile picture, some nice cleavage, blah, blah, blah. Show up to the bar and it's a dude, or it's a horrible looking. I'm just saying worst case scenario. Just having some fun, Kenny Kim, but don't get yourself caught up with the Statfish Catch of the Week, who is Sam Burns, friends. He checks 0 boxes this week. He's $8,900. That makes him the 12th ranked golfer in the DraftKings pricing slate. I've got him ranked 29th, so that's like a 17 spot difference. Doesn't check a single box. Under the gun last week. Sam Burns finds himself in the lead, rips one into some Pebble Beach guy's mansion, hits the tree, stays in bounds. This dude was rattling balls off the top of flag sticks and shooting them straight into the hole. He was sun running so hard. Sun runner Sam for the Catfish Week, the Catfish Catch of the Week, the Statfish Catch of the Week. Because we got the 3rd place in 2021 and the 10th place here in 2024. In between that, we got 2 miscuts. So this man can absolutely let you down. I think he's overpriced. I think he's overhyped. He's Scotty Scheffler's buddy, so everybody loves him. You don't want to meet this man at the bar after what he's showing you online. It's like, just avoid it for me, people. I'm just going to tell you that today. So the Statfish Catch of the Week, Samuel Burns. Stay clear this week. 55th in the micro model. Yuck City.
If he wins this week, I'm going to have to start,
Oh, yeah. This is always the fun part about a fade segment, Kenny. It takes balls to put a fade out there, okay?
It does take balls to fade someone who played very well last week. But the one worry, of course, is the man can put his ass off at any given time, especially
any given time.
That's the
Not
word.
every time.
I'm not playing him either. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm not playing him. We had the same agreement and almost the same conversation about Morikawa last week.
Make that information with what you want.
Hey, that could be something you guys out there might want to pay attention to. All right. Now, for me, my 3rd cash game cornerstone is going to be Matthew Fitzpatrick. Again, he's probably like my favorite play on the board. Again, we talked about him in the betting segment. A couple of top 15 finishes, top 5 here in the past. Ball striking has been elite. Well above average around the greens as well. Average to above average. Really good from 150 to 175, both from the rough and from the fairway. Give me Fitz as my 3rd cash game cornerstone. That was my 3rd cash game cornerstone, but he's never played the course before, and I just don't like making any of my cash game cornerstones someone who has never played the course. It's just something in the mental that I have. It's going to be very rare. I might do it once or twice a year. And usually it's going to be based on form, which his form has been excellent. But for GBPs, I'm down. I'm going to play Knapp, no problem. I'm going back on Ober. I almost clicked him 75 to 1 with 3 places for this week. You get him 35 to 1, I think, on DK right now. But you get the enhanced odds when you do the 3 place each way on the book that's open, every day of the year. He looked really good on the weekend. He looked strong on the weekend at Pebble. I think 66, 67. To finish up his weekend, he looked strong. His driving. Hopefully, it hasn't been the best, but you're hoping it comes back to where it's been before. He's still top 25 in this field in the last 24 rounds, and even though he hasn't been playing that great, you look at his numbers, they're not going to be good recently. And I think it could still keep people off of him when it comes to GPPs.
This is Knapp we're talking about, right? So,
I was talking about Oberg. Knapp.
Oberg. Sorry,
Oh,
I spaced out
I
there for a
switched it
second.
Between
My bad.
But no, you're right. I switched it in between. But I do like Knapp. Knapp and Oberg. Oberg for Knapp and Oberg for GPPs. Fits for cash and GPP.
Cash. Love that. I'm going to go ahead and endorse Knapp and Fitz with you. I think those make too much sense. I think Bobby Mack makes way too much sense in these kind of conditions as well. The Scottish lefty, another Euro. Got decent pop off the tee, a nice scrappy short game specialist, finishes inside the top 10, 1 in every 3 starts. That's one of the better top 10 rates in this range. But one of my favorite plays in the $8,000 range is Ben Griffin. If we just take the 10,000-foot view on this man, we really haven't had a golf course that's really going to reward what Ben does well. I don't think he played the Farmers, which is probably one of the... Did he play the Farmers? Either way, he didn't play well if he did, because I would have known that. But I think a course like this really rewards his long iron play. He hasn't had a chance to flex that at Pebble, hasn't had a chance to do that at Sony. Waste management's like kind of, more mid irons than long irons. Ben Griffin's one of the better long iron players in the field. And I think with it being wet and cold, it's going to be important to get that out of the way and make sure that you guys have got some distance off the tee. He's one of the better, guys in that department as well. I think Ben, he's 50th in the field, but it is what it is. He's a solid driver of the golf ball. He can have some pop when he wants to. And I think Ben Griffin's going to be that guy. He has played some Sony, so random courses like that could reduce your driving distance a little bit. But he's a very scrappy short game specialist as well. Around the greens, he's 6th and he's 14th when it comes to putting, and he's 8th on approach for me in the micro model. So basically just getting it done. 15th in the field in green regulation rates. So he's getting it across the line. Just hasn't had a top 10 yet. I think people might be letting the balloon float away too far right now. And at $8,700, maybe we get the Ben Griffin that was 2 Scotty Scheffler runner-up positions. Ben Griffin finished runner-up to Scotty Scheffler twice last year. If Scotty didn't exist, he would have had 5 wins in 2025. Like, he won 3 times. Scotty beat him 2 other times. He was the only person that could have beat Scotty those weeks. So he's got the potential. He just needs to get it together. I feel like this kind of course can help him find his momentum. And I think he will be under-owned, 8th in the model. He's my little darling in the 8K range. In the 7s, Kenny Kim, got some Harris English. We got some Pearson Coody, some Jason Days. Minwoo Lee played well last week. Where are you going in the 7s?
I like Adam Scott at $7,900. He's just been sort of average so far from what we've seen. But again, it's a guy who doesn't play this course well. He's been solid off the tee, and his ball striking has been very, very good. He's 7th in strokes gained ball striking in the last 24 rounds in this field. Again, putts very, very well on POA. I think he's 11th in the field in POA, and I'm going back all records when it comes to POA putting, and he's 11th in this field. And he crushes par 5s. I think he's 3rd in par 5 average and 2nd in par 5 birdie or better percentage in the last 24 rounds in this field. So I do like Adam Scott a lot this week. Going down a little bit more, I'll play Keegan. I'll play Minwoo down here. But again, my favorite play in the 7K range is going to be Pearson Coody at $7,200. I think that's what his price is. He is going to be my hustler play of the week. Mike can go ahead and play the music. Again, I'm also betting him 60-1 with 8 places. Comes in number 2 in my model this week. Been extremely good off the tee and with his approaches. Top 10 in the field in birdie or better, birdie or better, and birdie better from the rough in the last 24 rounds. Been very, very good on par 5s. I think after his lukewarm performance last week and the fact that he's playing 6 weeks in a row, it's going to have people off of him. They're going to be worried. He's a kid. I'm not worried about him playing 6 weeks in a row. So I like Pearson Coody, one of my favorite play in the 7K range and my hustler play of the week. Those are, I might look at Homa because, he hasn't really done that much. But again, you play Homa at Homa courses, but his numbers have low-key been, decent. 18th in strokes gained approach in the last 24 rounds, 25th in strokes gained around the green. When it comes to, out of the rough, he's from 150 to 175. He's 14th. He's a very, very good POA putter. He's 5th in birdie or better percentage from the rough in this field in the last 24 rounds. Good at par 4 scoring. I'll take a look at home.
It makes too much sense, Kenny. And at some point, someone's got to break out. He's got the baseline to do it. If he just finds himself on a happy hunting ground, it makes way too much sense for him at this kind of price. Why not take a swing? Getting back to your guy, Pearson Coody, he just came back from the KFT where he was 2-timing us. He wasn't stat fishing. He was double dipping people. He was playing PGA Tour events and KFT events. So this man is very familiar with the very full schedule, and him playing a lot of golf is totally fine. I think it's probably good for him, getting his feet back on the PGA Tour. So while you're playing good, play lots of golf. Why the hell not? You can win $3.6 million or something this week. So something pathetic like that. So insane stuff. One of my favorite names, 13th in the model. This man finished inside the top 30, 63% of the time. He's got a 7th and a 12th at this golf course the 2 times they played here. Hits fairways like crazy. He's a very good scrambler. 12th in the field around the greens, 11th off the tee. Harris English, people, $7,900. I mean, he's been overlooked for the most part this year. Didn't quite get it together at the Farmers, defending champion over there, but I think this course really rewards what he does best. I'm not looking for Harris English at a wedge fest where you're trying to get to 20 under par. I'm looking for Harris English to take care of business at minus 15, minus 12. I think that's what Harris English really does his best work at. And he does gain over a stroke in each of those hardish and hellish conditions. So Harris English definitely checking the 2 boxes there. Super consistent guy. I think he's a great cash game option if you're looking for one of them in the 7s. I'll be joining Jason Day again. Too good a course history. Now, are the conditions going to be hurting him a little bit? I don't know. But maybe last week I bet him top 20 and he missed the top 20 by 1. That could hurt some people's ambitions on this guy. So maybe he gets it together again this week. Great chipper, great putter. The short game's fantastic. He's 5th in the micro model because of that short game. We don't hit a lot of greens and a lot of fairways, so you got to make sure you are getting them in the middle of the fairway, in the middle of the greens, people. Pearson Coody, another guy you mentioned there, Kenny. Ryan Gerard, another name that kind of had a bit of a letdown at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. I prefer him on these ball strikers paradises. The flushes only. Ryan Gerard is one of these guys. I think he can tear this course up. Ball striking, 23rd in the model. DraftKings has got him priced 36, so there's a 13 spot improvement for me for Gerard. Doesn't check any boxes, but he's just solid. So I like what he's been up to a little while. And I mean, he's second, 11th, and then Pebble Beach. So I think a course like this can really suit his game quite nicely. And then Alex Noren at $7,000 flat. Not going to necessarily fit that Bombers narrative, but he's going to fit a scrappy scrambler from Europe narrative at $7,000. 31st in my model. DraftKings has him priced 40th. I'll take a bit of value there. He finished 12th here in 2021, by the way. So he can get it dialed in if he wants to. Let's see what he can do. In the $6,000 ranges, Kenny Kim, where are we getting out of here with?
Our final cash game cornerstone is going to be Hisatune. Again, I bet all my cash game cornerstones, so not shocking. Form has been exceptional. 3 straight top 10s, runner-up at the Farmers, really putting his ass off on POA. So big fan of Hisatune. The game's there. I'm not worried about him being tired. As again, he's 23 years old. I'm going to go ahead and play him as my final cash game cornerstone. For my cash game cornerstones for this week, it's going to be Tommy Fleetwood at $10,300, Hideki Matsuyama at $9,500, Matthew Fitzpatrick at $8,400, and Hisatune at $6,800. As of now, I have it filled out with Adam Scott and Jacob Bridgman, another guy who I do like. Again, form has been immaculate. He puts well on POA. I'm going to ride that wave with Bridgman, and I like the other $6,800 guy. The 3 $6,800 guys are 3 guys I'm definitely going to play. That's going to be Tony Finau. Again, we talked about him, earlier in the show. Sam Stevens at $6,700 on a driver-heavy course is someone that I will look at. Miko played well last week, right? His iron game looked really strong. I don't know if I'll go back to him, but that's someone to dig a little deeper on, to look through. I like Bud Colley at $6,200. I think he was like top 15 in strokes gained tee to green last week. Field very similar to the one that we are playing here. His iron game's always good, really good from 150 to 175. I like Bud Colley as a little sleeper that could be very, very low owned this week in the low 6K range. You're playing Scotty, could be an option.
Yeah. If you are playing Scotty, the 6K range is imperative to be right in. Some other names that you didn't mention, Kenny, I'm in on Tony Finau. I will have him in over half my lineups. I'm treating him as like an $8,000 option this week. But he's $6,800. I'm in on this. I cannot stress how excited I am about this putter of his. It could absolutely unload the floodgates on courses like this. Sahith Theegala struggled a little bit at the Pebble Beach Open, Pro-Am, whatever. Not a golf course for him. He's not a wedge guy. He's a master driver out there, and you don't want to miss right. Sahith hits a big, flary fade. That's not what you want to do at Pebble. This golf course, he can work the ball two ways if he does want to do. He's predominantly a fader. I think he's a much better long iron player as well. Very good scrambler around the greens and chipping and putting. He's grown up in the West Coast. I'm very sure he's very familiar with the Kikuyu rough. Finished 15th here in his lone appearance in the last 4 years. So, I mean, he's got the course history there if you want to look at that. And he's been playing some good golf this year so far too. Patrick Rogers, if you take a look back beyond the 3 miscuts at Riviera in the last 4 years, there's a 12th place finish and another top 20, I believe, back in 2020. He's very impressive around this golf course. If you take a look a little further back, he's also been playing a lot better this year. Remember, we started the season with him finishing top 10 at the Sony for his second top 10 in a row for the first time in his career. That was only like 3 starts ago. I like him on these long courses that you can just mash driver around. It makes a lot of sense for him to get it done. Yeah, very good around the greens, given he's only $6,900. Then we're going to be matching you there with Rio Hatsune. I don't mind him. Matt McCarty at $6,600 is somebody that's probably a little underpriced. He could be in the 7K range, I believe. If you just take a look at how often he finishes inside the top 5 and top 20, he's well above all of his compatriots over here. Has a great putter on his side and can get it done in that department. Tom Hoagie at $6,300 doesn't make sense that he plays well here, but he does. And I'm going to keep riding the Tom Hoagie Express. It's affordable. It's $6,300. It's 200 to 1. Like everything you're touching with Tom Hoagie is like you can pay with pennies. So give me this guy who's got incredible upside. We've got 2 top 12s this year already on courses he's played well at, like we've said, 8th and 14th to finish the last 2 starts. Marco Penge, €1, $6,200. Hits it 1,000,000 miles. This could be his breakout week. You know, like a golf course like this can really reward the good ball striking he has out there. He's affordable, $6,200. I like this kind of weather for him. We're looking for him to get his shit together on the PGA Tour. He's way too talented to be playing the bad golf he is now. And then his other PXG buddy, Aldrich Potgieter, 6K flat, Kikuyu grass, Farmers Insurance, kind of calm situations, right? He's succeeded nicely at the Farmers a couple years ago. He's also looking to find his PXG groove. Couple starts on his belt now. 6K flat at a golf course, you can just mash the ball around you. Aldrich's our guy. You know, he's got some upside. 15% top 10 rate, $6,000 flat. Let's go. So I might have to play Scotty, Kenny. I like too many guys in the 6Ks.
You might as well. If you like a bunch of 6K, that's the way to do it.
Fuck it. We're going Scotty Scheffler this week, friends. You know, why not? So we bet the 2 guys, Tommy and Rory, and I'll just lock Scotty in DFS then. I like too many names in the 6K range, I'm just realizing. So that's going to have to be my case this week. One and done. Siwoo later. Last week was not good for me. I pivoted off of Mav. Thanks to you, Kenny. I'm assuming Mav finished ahead of Siwoo, but didn't really matter. Neither did great. So I'm dancing around them. Again, what are you doing this week?
Yeah, I win. I'm still in the lead in the Slider Cup. I think I dropped a little bit. I had Henley in the Mayo. I think he finished top 20, which wasn't great. This week, I'm going to use big dog. I'm going to use my first big dog of the season. I'm going to use Fleetwood. I'm going to go Tommy here. I think he's going to win. I just think it's him or Fitzy. Him or Fitz. Those are the ones that I think I might use. I think maybe I'll use Tommy in Mayo and Fitzy in the Slider. And then I might go a little weird and go Cootie in the Slider. Because again, Slider doesn't go with money. It's just finishing position. So I think I might go in that direction this week because I really like Cootie. I really like Fitzy. I really like Fleetwood. Those are like my 3 dudes this week.
Your boys. Ride or dies. LeBron, Michael Jordan just won the Daytona 500 with his NASCAR team, right?
Yeah, I sat next to him when I went to a race last year. I went to Charlotte last year. And we had the Monster pit passes. I have a friend who works for Monster Energy. He listens to the show. And he gets us these nice tickets for pit passes. And so we were in the Monster Energy they have these little tents, steel tents, that you almost like a steel mezzanine almost is what it was like. and ours was right next to Michael Jordan. So I saw Jordan.
So
He
cool.
was there for the race as well. But yeah, he won the NASCAR race. And then of course,
the
you know,
owner.
the Olympics going on and all that good stuff. The Canadians curling. The fuck's wrong with them?
I know. Of
Cheers.
all the countries, Canada.
It's been
What
a
do you guys-
warm. It's been a warm 4 years. We'll say we haven't had a lot of a lot of training.
So anyway, my one and done for this week is not going to be Keegan Bradley, who also wears the bunch of Jordans. It's going to be Tony Finau. I'm getting cute early. I'm off the rails early, Kenny, but I do believe with the upside that he has at this golf course, what is he going to be? 1% owned in one and dones? Less than? You know, like, I didn't see everyone going to him this week. I want to be early on this putter because we know the baseline ball striking's there on these long, big golf courses. If this putter just shows up, man, I think Tony can be back. So good vibes with Jordan winning Daytona. You know, like, why not? So give me Tony Finau this week. If he doesn't do well, we still probably could have a good week. But if he does well, we're going to have a great week. You know, so Tony Finau, my guy this week. Awesome stuff, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to let us know who's going to win this week. 2 people can win the contest. So the first 2 names that tell us who the winner of this tournament is going to be in the comments below get a free month in the Model Maniac Patreon. Link in the description for that as well. Really appreciate you guys. I've got the betting channel. I've got the DFS and Showdown channel. I've got my Model Maniacs channel, and I got the Best Ball channel. And you can be a golf sicko and just get all 4 of those things. I might as well just do that. You should. So check it out in the description. Thank you so much. At the Model Maniac is where you can find me on X. All my stuff's out there. I'll be doing my Back 9 Bet show on Tuesday at 3 Eastern on Mayo Media Network live. Check me in the chat over there. Also giving away a free month subscription to a lucky person in the middle of the show as I do a giveaway there too. So lots of Model Maniac Patreon free months. Kenny Kim, get us out of here, baby.
Find me on X at Kendo VT. I'll have my final betting card there, any live bets, any pertinent information that I hear about this week. And then, you know, of course, my normal bullshit. So make sure you follow me over at Kendo VT. Another Siggy event, world-class field, great course. What could be better? Let's win some motherfucking money, DGen Nation.